and in harmony. However, we can't deny the fact that, and the most noticeable matter that happened in our society is relating to the equality and these opportunities like gender equality. So we know that like lots of people stated that they are being discriminated. They are not free and they are afraid. Well, based on those statements, just trigger and makes us wondering, like, is there any human who worth less than the other, or are we really equal? So this kind of questions emerges and resolving the group, or yes, the group of people who strive
Hello, Arsha?
they're being misunderstood, or yeah, which are being said as the main haters, or perhaps like people say that they are, I mean, they want to flip the positions between them and the other gender so that they can take control of all aspects or to control all of this kind of things. Well, so regarding that, I would like to invite you to a discussion regarding the feminism and feminists, the contemporary feminist movement, values and activism, the critique and continuity. So today I would like to be your moderator and we shall start. Wait, there's something wrong with. Okay, so guys, before we go any further, I would like to know your opinion regarding this. Like, what's the difference between feminism and feminists? Is there anyone who wants to speak up? Please raise your hand. Guys, do you know what's the difference between feminism and feminists? Please raise your hand to speak up. I'm yours. Okay, Mr. Alexander.
Well, thank you, Miss Arsa. Could you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Well, as far as I'm concerned, there's a lot of terms of feminism, and there's a lot of varieties also of feminism itself. But for me, feminism is basically about the ideas of how to make a woman more prosperous than before. So for those who struggles for feminism issues is called feminist. So that's the difference. And feminism, as I said, they're a feminist, someone who struggles for feminist issues. They usually voice their opinions, their voices, even their movements to popularize women issues such as domestic violence, sexual harassments, and rights to food, even because as far as I know, feminism is also one of the movements that that is beneficial for voicing women's issues. Therefore, like rights to food, rights to be freer in the society. I think feminism has been contributed a lot to these issues in terms of women itself. Yeah, that's from me, Ms. Ata. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for Mr. Alexander. So basically, feminism is like the movement while you speak up again. Okay, Mr. Sunshine.
When I heard word sunshine, oh no, feminism, it kind of reminds me of a particular organization that basically would like to defend and propagate the idea of how we can liberate or develop, improve the conditions of the freedom of the women. But basically, I agree with what has been said by the previous speaker, Mr. Alexander, that feminism right now has been like widely and improved in terms of the definition. It's not only focusing on women to improvement, but also on how to increase the welfare of those who are oppressed. But when it comes to feminism and feminists, we would like to compare that feminism is something like an understanding, a comprehension toward a particular social movement, while feminist is actually the activist, the person who has been doing these kinds of activities. Okay, I think that's from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sunshine. Well, what a nice explanation. So basically, feminism is like, like activity. So that's great. And next is Moonshine. Is that Mr. Moonshine?
All right. I think the definition about feminist, I already agree with Mr. Sunshine. So I'll try to answer about feminism. In my perspective, feminism is a academic word, bahasa academic that wants to show us if you want to change a society, or you want to make a change within society, it requires two things. The first one is advocation, and the second one is theoretical power. And in this theoretical power field, feminism is dominant, uh, dominant than more dominant than others theory about justice, such as like liberalism or capitalism or nationalism or communism. Feminism is the way more dominant, not dominant. How to say it, like unggul is unggul.
Superior.
The yeah, something like that. And so for me, feminism is the combine between all of justice theory, and it requires also feminism also can dismantle the language system. What is dismantle language system? It's like something like this. If you know bell hooks, she always wrote her name on every her books with lowercase letter. She told the editor. She said that I didn't want to use uppercase capitalized word, because capitalized or uppercase word is symbolize a man, it symbolize a masculine word. The word is so oppressive, so aggressive. So I choose to use lowercase letter. So she wrote her name B, not B with capital word, but B with lowercase and hooks also. So I think that's for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mushan. For the last is Miss. Okay, so we will move to the other slide. Feminism is the movement. I mean, it's like, the belief to was that approach to issues of equality, while feminist is the person who believes in the feminism, like that. So for the next slide. So based on this kind of survey, we got around 69% of males and around 35% of females who tend to consider that they are not feminists. Well, actually, they are accepting or supporting the movement of feminism, while the group, like 6% of men and approximately 3% of women, state that they don't support the movement. Well, so I have a question like, why do some people don't want to be labeled or to be called as feminists? Is there anyone who wants to answer? Okay, Mr. Al-Munawar, Ferdinand. Okay, Mr. Al-Munawar. Guys, is there anyone who wants to speak up? Okay, Mr. Sunshine.
So probably due to the overwhelming dominations given by feminist people, because I believe that they have been successfully campaigning toward the people so that they can influence so many people in how they can sustaining the freedom that have been given, or even improving the range or the extent of the freedom that have been given toward women from the society perspective. I believe that these kinds of campaign that have been done by these families kind of appraising someone, even though the idea of how to liberate the freedom without oppressing people is the basic and the primary reason why feminism existed. But they somehow unconsciously break their own rules. And that's why it feel like, I don't know whether feminists always say something like, when there is someone disagree with them, they always like judge them being patriarchy, judge them having toxic masculinity, judge them being in the negative side of bad people. But personally, I like to say that feminist is not that always true, and they always try to find justification in liberating their own way of thinking, and that's why it's kind of mindset operations that have been done and consistent. That's why so many people liberate themselves from being labeled as feminist. I think that's
Okay, thank you for Mr. Sunshine. So, Mr. Chikoneng, so what's your opinion regarding this? Like, why do some people don't want to be labeled?
Okay. Well, I would like to try our attempt answer this question. For objective answer, we should look at what is the question at this questionnaire conducted by Tirto and the other surveyor. It is the objective way. We will know why do some people don't want to be labeled as feminists. But if you ask me as subjectively, I mean, regarding my point of view, it depends on your countries, depend on how your government organize your countries. For example, like for the democratic countries, especially in USA and several West countries, they will they they want to be labeled as a feminist to struggle in their prosperity, like the previous speaker said, and also sexual harassment and everything regarding the woman life. But in contrast, when we look at the relationship between the country and religion, especially in Indonesia, as stipulated in our first verse, I mean ketuhanan yang Maha Esa, so they will consider what is the age of religion and what is the age of liberty, because it's rather difficult to find it when the religion prohibits something, but in the other hand, liberation allow it. So in this situation, they don't want to be as, what we say that, the people that don't obey the religion, or we can say that, the people who don't follow the religion, and they will not accept it in their societies. Or like Mr. Sansein said before, the other people will label them as patriarchy, and also the other people will label them as it is the outside of the culture, perhaps like that. And in the term of they don't want label as the feminist, um, in education sector, we don't have a community perhaps, but I don't know. Regarding to the community that will always discuss about the feminists, especially in their ideology and what is their purpose, especially in Indonesia, women, and also what is the instrument that will fulfill their struggles in Indonesia. And that is for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So basically, you said that feminism is, I mean, people don't want to be labeled as feminist because it's like, the feminists often be seen as group of people who is like following the religion and more likely to be liberal, right?
The first thing that I would say the relationship between religion and country. And the second is in the education theory of feminists, like the organization that always discuss about that issues. That is the two things that I will emphasize for answer this question.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Mr. Chikoneng. Okay, so Ms. Dewi, please share your opinion.
Okay. Okay. So I want to be labeled as feminist. Maybe because the word feminism or feminism in the society is negative. It is the simple opinion for me, because as I know, in the society they think that feminist or feminism is, they always disagree when the gender, the man is in front and the woman is behind. So for me, feminist or feminist, for me too, I don't want to be less as feminist because of that, because I'm woman, just like that, because in the society always think that who labeled as a feminist is always, how to say, berontak, and and always speak up and don't want to be patient, or the other, like that. Thank you. Sorry.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Dewi. So, Ms. Dewi says that in the society, normally people see feminist is like someone or group of people who always wants that create something like to make themselves equal, like, perhaps like speak up more and try to make chaos and the other things like that. So that's why people don't want to be labeled as feminist. So, okay, Mr. Moonshine, that's yours.
All right, thank you. I think I'll agree again with Mr. Sunshine, but I'll put something that this is based on my experience. There is a UKM in Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia that invites me to speak about gender equality in politics and economic. And during my speech, suddenly there was a audience that raises her hands, and then she asked me, can a male declare himself as a male feminist? So I said that I will not doing that. Why? Because I will never experience the injustice that happened within the female body. For example, I will not experience pregnant, or I will not experience the how to say it, like the injustice that comes from the society that will attack to woman's body. So I will not be the male feminist. So that's why I will not declare myself as feminist. So like I said before, feminism is an academic word. So I don't have to become a feminist to implement that feminism idea or to improve it, the development, the idea to make something within our law to make sure the relation in the society become better in the future. So that's why I will not declare myself as a feminist. And for me, become a feminist have more responsible to how to say it, like to carry on the duty that you speak up about the injustice that happens to women. So because I will not experience the injustice that happen in women body, so I will not become a feminist. So that's why from my perspective, I will not become a feminist within right now or in the future. But if you ask me to carry on the idea of feminism, I will carry on maybe until my death time, something like that. So I think that's from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Moonshine. And okay, for Miss Lucia.
Thank you. I really like the statement that Mr. Moonshine tell about he likes or he agrees about feminism, but somehow he understands that deeply. He didn't experience it by himself, so that he cannot really totally absorb into the movement and become one of the feminists, because it's gonna be weird. It's not totally impossible, but it's gonna be weird for him. I guess it's true and it is honest. So uh many of the women, not just men, also feel like they are not comfortable to be labeled as feminist, or furthermore, they might be very disagree about the concept of feminism. Why? Because we live in a patriarchy country, and because the religion is become the main moral, the main moral role model in order how to behave, and whether it is right or wrong, whether it is proper or not between the gender men and women. So in this case, like so many women, not just men, also believe or agree and living to the value of patriarchy system, because the religion also make have a patriarchy views and patriarchy belief. So that's why in order to become a good, like a good religious or believer, they should follow the rules, whether it is a give some equality or not between men and women. And also a lot of people disagree about the feminism because it is threatened the comfort zone. So many people already enjoy what they're doing and what where their privileges are right now. So for example, like men already enjoy their privilege as being the dominant one, and they can do everything they want without take so much prejudice or take so much judgment in terms of the like sexual behavior. They can do whatever they want, and they can do a premarital sex without getting so much judgment, rather than the woman already being double stigma, getting double stigma, and if they lose their virginity, they will call as a slut or whore or bitch, I don't know what else. And in this case, if the men have to support the feminism, it means that they have to put the women as an equal to them, which means they have to surrender a lot of their privilege and their superiority in order to make it equal. And that will be hurtful or painful or shameful for them to do it. Not all men, but most of the men, I guess. So, and for the women, there is a lot of women who depend their life and living their life by getting money from the men. They don't have a job. They don't working like getting money from their own job. They just follow the man wherever the man goes. Like if she become his wife, or maybe if she become his I don't know, another like prostitute. So a lot of women already enjoy this kind of position, and when they have to surrender this kind of privilege by not working but getting a lot of money and get the pamper from her husband and get all everything she wants just by asking to her husband, why should she surrender this kind of privilege um, just to supporting the equality between men and women, in this case like becoming a feminist? So this is must be painful, or it must be difficult for them to let it go, let the privilege go, because it's not just beneficial for the women. It also demands the more responsibility for the women to take care of themselves and to have their own independency, despite just depending their life into the man or her husband. I guess that's it. Why so many people are hesitant become a feminist or agreeing with the feminism. Thank you, Miss.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Livia. So, Ms. Livia stated that like feminism normally is like, opposite from the religion, and it's like because the man and the women also don't want to give up their privileges because yeah, as women, most of the women they just try to wait for the man to give them money and other, while the men also get the other privileges such as freedom and something else. So then they don't want to give them up in order to become feminist like that. So I'm sorry, but like the last the last person, Devi, Siti Devianti, perhaps.
I will try to give an opinion regarding these questions. Why do some people don't want to be labeled as a feminist? Because in my point of view, I find some assumptions that actually women, they have assumptions that when, no, the feminism has purpose to hate men. And they don't want to hate men because yeah, they assume that men is their father, their grandfather, their friends, their relative, or the others. And the second, feminism, they have their perspective regarding feminism. They believe that feminism has purpose to make special rights than men, but actually feminism has purpose to have same way, to have same opportunities, to have same activities or equal rights with men. So probably because of this misunderstanding, so many people, or there are some people, don't want to be labeled as a feminist. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Siti Devianti. So Ms. Siti stated that like, feminism is like can be seen, or yeah, most people see feminism as, or feminists as the man haters, like they have men and something like that. So that's why people don't want to be labeled as feminists. Okay, so we move to the next slide. So what does feminists do to our society? Because like like lots of things that people say in the social media, feminism doesn't do anything, and we only want to what's that, flip over or to reverse the domination of the man, or to just be on the top of everything. So what actually feminists do to our society? Okay, Mr. Fatan Abdillah, thanks yours.
Hello, sorry. Actually, I raised hand for the previous question, but okay, I will answer. What does feminists do to our society? Of course, they fight for the gender equality, empowerment women, and something like that. But also related with the previous question, why do some people don't want to be labeled as feminists? I think because in some points feminists annoying. I mean, like the Karen or SGW, SJW, Uh, I mean, I agree with with many points in the feminist activities, but you know, some of them is really annoying. Like, uh, they fight for freedom, uh, but they fight for freedom, but sometimes they also prejudice the other people's private life. Like, you know, in the Twitter before, some uh, uh, wa- wife make the, how to say, make the bento, how to say bento, the lunch for their husband, uh, for her husband, because she loved that. But and then the feminist, the Karen, just attack her, like, why you want to be the always service the man, something like that. I mean, like, uh I will, maybe another speaker will talk about positive things, but I will talk about the negative things. What does feminists do to our society? I think, yeah, some annoying, because uh, we don't have the balance. I mean, like, the fightings about the woman rights is happened since a long time ago. Like, you know, that the woman can like this, but we never have like the man active, the fight for the men rights. We don't have the masculinists. Maybe we have anti-feminists, but we don't have masculinists that fight for the men rights. I mean, the feminists always thinks that we can do everything we want to do, but in fact we also have uh, depression. Maybe we have pressure from our family. We have you know, we need to give the money for our wife. We have all the responsibility. That's also hard for us, actually. So yeah, maybe feminists, you know, you in I think the equality we can reach in the education, in the law, in the everything in life that we can measure. But if you always talk, why society always thinks women like this, it's maybe only your perception, not what they think. That's from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fatan Abdullah. So you stated that, you know, what of the people, I mean, the feminists, just like, you know, like man haters. So they just want to be equal. But, you know, on the other hand, or on the same time, they don't do anything but rebel to the society. Like, you know, so you said that the people, they already was that, yeah, having a lot of the trouble, especially for the boy, but they don't care about that and keep continuing on the issue of feminism. Okay, so thank you for the opinion. And next one is Mr. Sukuneng.
Okay, well, what does the feminist do to our societies? First of all, I would like to, we should determine who is the feminist. Is feminist kind of the person that involved in one of non-government organization of feminism, or is feminist who struggle? They are not involved in in the feminism organization, but they show the struggles for the women. I would like take the second example for that. Like, the people isn't involved in the organization of feminists, but they show their capabilities to fulfill the shortages of women. For example, if we look at the actor or the figure in the several contexts, like journalists, Najwa Shihab is kind of feminist for their ideology to fulfill how the women can be a good journalist in the societies. In the other term, Puan Maharani is kind of a feminist. They struggle to fulfill their capacity to become a leader for our assemble a nation, or we can call it as DPR. And no one conduct the demonstration to prohibit the Puan to be a leader. because it is enacted in our government system. Albeit, in contrast, there are several reasons, or in the campaign times when we always utilize several words from the religion that prohibit the women. But actually, when we compare it, Indonesian with the other countries, especially for the democratic one, USA, no one who is the women president from the first until now. But Indonesia, we should appreciate Indonesia, give a chance to Megawati as the fourth president for Indonesia. And many cases, the people who don't understand about the Islam, sometimes they judge, is Islam really oppress a woman? But absolutely isn't Islam that oppress the woman, but the man oppress the woman, because system elected by their assemble, they involve many men there. But Islam always being how to say kambing hitam?
Scapegoat.
Scapegoat. Scapegoat really? Yeah, scapegoat. But Islam also be a scapegoat for this condition. Yeah, albeit the other perspective will disagree. How Megawati isn't coming from the general election, but we are the Megawati was the fourth president, and there is not like impeachment like Gus Dur, albeit in the other hand there are a lot of demonstration in the field. That is the real what the societies agree with that for the gender first of all, and then if we oh yeah, fifth sorry, I think we got the fifth, we have a president, and then I would like to take the value from the book I read, Radical Reform by Tariq Ramadan. It is the professor of Islamic philosophy in Oxford University. They said that we should utilize multi-story man-side, not single-story man-side. For example, like when we talk about hijab, hijab in the term of religion, in the term of ASEAN or Middle East countries, they stipulate or express hijab is like scarf, but in the West, they don't means that. They means hijab is something that cover your body, like what Najwa Shihab did perhaps, albeit your body is covered by your clothes. So it means a hijab. So it means the multi-story mindset, not single-story mindset. But the difficult thing in our societies is how we will be tolerating the others, then only utilize our perspective to judge the other. That is my point.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Cikoneng. So next one is Mr. Fikri Nugraha.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity, Miss Arsa. What does feminists do to our society actually in Indonesia right now? The feminists do to our society is first to fight their rights, the equality between men and women. For the example, it's happen from our heroes, women heroes, Kartini, as you know, because the Kartini in the colonial era first that speak up about the equality between the woman and men in that era. But right now, feminism have so many cases that they have to speak up, and the second is about the woman is have the right to get a same payment between the men in the company or working. And the feminists have a speak up about, if you know the case in the ice cream company in Indonesia, like I say, the speaker or the worker in the IC is not get properly pay from the company, like the woman that pregnant, the worker of pregnant, so they can have a good payment from the company. So the feminists right now have a right to speak up about the problem. So that's the real meaning of the feminism in Indonesia. But for the other case, right now, the reality, like the Mr. Said, I forget the name, about the SGW in Twitter, they problem about the lunch for their husband. So many of moment in Indonesia is misunderstood about the meaning of the feminism. They always think about their right to be independent, to be have a right to live without men. So that I think that's the misunderstanding about the feminism in Indonesia. So that's why the people have, or the feminism in Indonesia didn't want to be a feminist in Indonesia because of that case, Miss Arsa. Hello, can you
Okay,
hear
thank
my
you
voice?
for Mr. Fitri. So basically, like, yeah, yeah, I can hear your voice clearly. Okay, thank you, Mr.
Okay.
Fitri. So basically, you stated that nowadays women strive so that their fellow women can get the same rights, especially in the work field, like get having the same salaries and other. And also, I'm not only that, I want to work hard so that all of the cases, especially yeah, in social life, can be solved. For example, like in the ICE, they strive for the injustice and stuff like that. Thank you, Mr. Fikri, for the opinion. So the next one is Mr. Alexander.
Well, what I'm trying to say actually has been mentioned by several speakers previously, but I would like to highlight something. Feminism as a theory, I think, doesn't emerge by itself. It appears not because a woman feel bored, for example, so they would like to do some movement, for example. So it's not because of that. It's, in my opinion, due to some real operations that is still happening right now in our country that has been faced by a woman so far. Like, for example, in the workplace, as what has been mentioned by Mr. A speaker earlier, women sometimes they don't have a right to get the proper payments. For instance, when they have been pregnant, they then they don't get enough love when they were about to give birth to their children. Secondly, it's about the family. Sometimes in the family, women do not have equal accesses when it comes to fundamentalist families. They are forced to cook. They're forced to merely have a babies. They're forced to not to have enough or proper educations. On top of that, in the environment, for example, when people, let's say, see beautiful girls in the streets, they sometimes conduct catcallings. For instance, women are not allowed to go outside above 10 p.m. at night. Therefore, there's several real conditions that I think always trigger the movement of feminism, the movement of feminism currently in our era. However, on the other hand, due to, in my opinion, our feminist term, specifically in Indonesia, is kind of a new theory. It didn't exist before 1980s or even 1960s in Indonesia. It exists and become popular, renowned in our country over 2000s, I think. Therefore, as a new theory, there's so many understandings regarding this term. On the other hand, there's still also prejudices regarding this theory. It comes from merely from Westerns, for example, it's Western ideas. On the other hand, it could educate you to be liberal, to be more elitist, like a woman who become more extravagant to the society, etc. Therefore, there's a lot of misunderstanding. I think it's the duty or the challenge for the feminists themselves to clarify the idea of this feminism. Thank you, Mr. Asli. That's all for me.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Alexander. Okay, thank you. And for the last one, Mr. Fatan Abdillah, you may speak. Okay, for Mr. Fatan Abdillah, you want to give your opinion regarding this?
Oh, maybe I will skip first with this question. But oh, say one thing. I mean, you know, feminist all things. Why? How to say? Women always can live without men, but never you never ask a man is are we can live without women? Of course we cannot. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the opinion, Mr. Fatan Abdillah. Okay, so we will move to the next slide. And was that they do lots of things, law and the elimination of physical violence. So basically, if you see in the Instagram, like lots of the accounts of feminism, they just try to what's that to
Hello, Arsha?
Hello, mister. I'm sorry. What's that?
Oh yeah.
My account just locked up. I will try to
Okay.
go to join.
Okay. I will help you to share the screen from
Okay.
from here. Okay. Wait a second.
Thank you, mister.
Okay. Can you hear right?
yes.
Okay, you can continue.
After this, yes.
Okay,
Next
wait.
slide, please, okay.
Is it?
Yes. And next again. Okay, okay. Okay, thank you, Mr. So like women empowering to stress on their own. For example, like Indonesia, we know it's like ibu-ibu PKK. So it's like that community to help other women empowering and to create some kind of income by creating some products. Also assistance of domestic violence victims because we know that in our society we have lots of cases regarding this. Like, you know, well when the either it's the husband or the wife, they try to oppress or try to abuse their partners. So the feminists try to sustain the victims. And also they try to get the equal rights. Yeah, as what you stated before, it is in the work field and in social life and in the others of that. Okay, Mr. Please, next slide. Back, back, Mr. The previous slide. Okay. So I still wondering like if you guys already know like what is feminism and feminist and what's the negative and also the positive or the benefits. So do you still need feminism in our society today? Is there anyone who wants to? Is there anyone who wants to say that? Please raise your hand. Okay, so Miss Lydia, comes yours.
This is like a short answer, isn't it? Short question with a short answer. In my perspective, of course we need, because if there is no such a person who wanna try to start and becoming the former of the movement, like more in a more organized way, not just like separative way, there will be no change, or there will be no reformation that will be happen in this country, especially like about the gender equality concept and ideas. So we already suffer a lot as a woman, that we have to be like the secondary human in this kind of culture and this kind of nation country uh, rules and laws. So for example, we can say the easiest thing that will become very problematic if there is no feminist that's gonna want to change and put reconstruct this kind of toxic culture. You can say there is a UU kekerasan seksual, sexual harassment, or sexual abuse or sexual violence. The man who sometimes, or not just sometimes, often, the men who do like sexual harassment or sexual abuse during inside the in the context of domestic violence, they will think that it is not a real abuse, it is not a real harassment, because how can your husband like giving you a sexual harassment? Because in the patriarchy perspective, your husband have the rights to do anything to your body, because you are the wife. You have to give the best service to him in order to fulfill your responsibility as his wife. So if your husband asks you to do like a sexual activity maybe until 5 times a day, which is make you very very uncomfortable and very disrespectful for you, but you still have to do it because the laws give the privilege to the man who become like the head of the family to ask and to get anything they want. So this is for the very very simple example. But further example can be like, why should women be called a whore or be called a slut just because they lose their virginity, which is not always uh which is not always ask their permission. They can be the rape victim or the sexual harassment victim or child abuse victim. So anything can happen, but why if the man doing the sexual uh, intercourse and forcing the other women uh, to give their virginity, it 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 feels like it's just okay. It is normal if the men are naughty or the men do whatever they want just because they are the men. So they can be more free to do whatever they want, even if it's bad according to our norms and tradition or perspective about sexual activity. So this is a very pity if there is no any woman or man that want to start this kind of equal perspective. So why should, if there is two adults that both giving consent to each other to having a sexual activity outside the marriage, why should people think or people agree or people judge as the man who takes the woman virginity? Why people cannot see they are doing such a teamwork or pleasure activity towards each other? There is no someone who dominate the other or someone who takes the other virginity until she feels like I'm useless after that, and I am such a war after I lose my virginity. It is not fair, and it puts women into a vulnerable, very vulnerable position, because after that it will make her feel like less than worth as a human. So she will let the other man to do the same again to her, because she feel like I already lost my virginity. So what's my value? No, but that is wrong, because your value is as a human, not being seen only by your virginity. It's just a very small part of your true value. So you must respect yourself more rather than just think that your value is just about your virginity. That's stupid, I think. So a lot of people must understand this and support this idea. Whether they are feminist or not, it's up to them. But don't let your woman or your sister or your maybe your daughter in the future will feel such as like that just because the patriarchy toxic culture. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Miss Lydia. So Miss Lydia has stated that, we need feminism. We need the feminists because, lots of things have happened in our society, and it can be seen from the things that the man or the other people have done to the girl who commits sexual intercourse, like just the negative stigma only be put on the girl and not to the boy or the couple or the partners. And also, like, the feminists also needed to to eliminate the other sexual harassment, for example, in the domestic. So basically, if the people say that if they already married, it means that the girl is on the man. And also, just like the man have to do everything that they want to do, so that the girl has to obey the man, like that, what Miss Lydia stated. Thank you, Miss Lydia. And okay, so perhaps for the last, like Mr. Lukmanul Hakim, I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you, Arsa. Do we need feminism? Of course, especially in Indonesia, Arsa, there are many people still think men better than women based on culture, based on religion, and so on. But in my opinion, if you give the same position, I think like the same getting the knowledge, same capacity, I think the woman better than man, because the woman can do anything like the multitasking people in the world. And then the woman can manage like the time, manage like the emotional, and manage the money. For example, Arsa, before the woman make a decision, he always think the impact. So if the man make decision, sometimes like arrogant people, there is no thing about the impact before he make the decision. So in my question, of course, I need the feminism. Thank you, Arsa.
Okay, so thank you for Mr. Lukmanul Hakim for your opinion. That's true. And then, like mostly lots of people stated that, as what you said before, the women can think like what happened in the future if they make this decision. But on the other hand, the man, they just do it, decision, do it directly and impulsively. So that's what Mr. Lukmanul stated. And Mr. Indrawanov, can you please move the slide? Okay, and next again. Okay, so basically, like we stated before regarding the feminist movement and feminism movement and then feminist, feminism fights patriarchy because patriarchy denotes a social structure where the actions and ideas of men are dominant over those of women. So it's like the men have to be on top of the women, like, you know, they're not equal because they dominate the women or the other gender, like that. And next slide, please. So I have question like, does patriarchy deserve women? Because we already was discussed regarding before, like the connection between the feminism and also patriarchy, and then the culture, what happened in our society. So the question is like, does the patriarchy only deserve women? Like, is women only the only part or the only side that is having lots of the negative impacts? Anyone want to respond? Perhaps Mr. or Miss Journal? Okay. And perhaps Miss Ria? Hello, Miss Ria, can you hear my voice?
Yes, I can hear your voice. About the patriarchy in Indonesia, right?
Yes. Or perhaps like around the world,
yes.
Okay.
Okay. This is my opinion, my perspective. Why we have to support about the women and especially particularly in Indonesia. I mean, because it's really necessary for not only women but also for the other things. I mean, because the first things women sometimes get so many violence, and the other thing also women there is no support about women. Sometimes in domestic women have the double jobs. For instance, I can say that in Indonesia, as many people generally think that and patriarchy is really good value, but they don't think about the first perspective about woman is humans. As a one humans, they should be have the equality about the genders, not only about the women can cook, for instance. I already discussed with my professor, but also in domestic we have a partner as a for instance the husband, so they have the woman. This is like the partner. So sometimes we need the feminist value to support to change about this perspectives of particularly about the patriarchy perspectives. Thank you. That's all.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Ria, for your opinion.
Yes.
Is there anyone who wants to speak up to the news, like does patriarchy with the women? Or do you have the other experience regarding patriarchy, or perhaps if you are a man or you ever been oppressed by this culture? Okay, next, Mr. Chikoneng.
So I want to ask you firstly, Miss. So do you think Indonesia is kind of the patriarchy system?
Pardon me?
Do you think Indonesia is kind of patriarchy system?
Well, if you ask my opinion, yes.
Okay.
Like, more. What do you think?
Okay. Yeah. Regarding to this issue, if we correlate it with the Indonesia as a nation, to give it objectively are categorized as patriarchy system, we should stipulating all the forces containing the patriarchy. I mean, pasal berapa and what is the text for that? First of all, I would like to say that it's like yeah, Indonesia as a nation still allow a women to be a leader for every single aspect in our system. It's like executive, legislative, or perhaps judicative. Albeit, in the other hand, we don't have the representative hakim. How to say hakim? In yeah, okay, Supreme Court, our Supreme Judge, or Supreme Prosecutor from the women in our history. But in the other hand, like legislative and executive, there are the representative of women at the certain time. So it means as a system, Indonesia still allow a lot of gender perhaps, but in the other hand, when we look at as our communities and our societies, like Mr. Livia said before regarding how women will be oppressed by the men when it comes to giving the affection in their desire, especially for the men, like sexual relationship. It's not coming from the system perhaps, but it's coming from how you look for your husband. If your husband understanding your value and also your capabilities and your and yourself, so the husband will allow you to do whatever, and they don't want to do it for the women perhaps, because in the term of religion itself, as I learned and studied, that like washing your clothes and also washing the plates or whatever is it in the household is not the responsibility of women, but the responsibility of the husband and the women. When you understand about that term, so it determines that you should collaborate and cooperate, not only a man and female, but both of you to mempermudah. How to say mempermudah? If we, because in the Islam, I learned about Ukudul Ujen and also Fatul Ijar is explained about the right and the responsibility husband and wife. There is not stipulated there that you should washing your clothes, you should ironing your husband clothes. But in this situation, when your husband understand you well and your jobs, perhaps you are like the career woman, so you will cooperate and collaborate to fulfill your necessity and fulfill your right, and also to do your responsibility. For this situation, I would like to say that it's come from the inequality of education in Indonesia. How patriarchy is means something awful. For example, like the women here can criticize a patriarchy because you are educated, but you can imagine there are a lot of the remote areas, they don't have the access to fulfill their education, albeit in the senior high school. So they tend to marriage, how to say pronounce it? Marriage, right? Nikah, marriage in the young age. So that is the reason why education should be a sector, how you will determine a patriarchy and all, you will criticize the issues. That is the thing that get married. The thing that how there are a lot of harassment and also a lot of things come to the women because of the uneducated societies. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chikone. So let's say that patriarchy only deserves women, or it also deserves the other gender, for example, like the man. So perhaps yes, Ms. Febri for the last person.
Okay, thank you, Miss Arsa, for the opportunity. So I will try to give my point of view about this question. Does the patriarchy solely deserve women? In my opinion, it's not deserve women, but also men. Maybe you ever hear about the toxic masculinity when people around you always say to you, as a man you have to be strong, or as a man you don't have to cry, or as a man you have to be success because you have more responsibility to your family, such as like that. In my opinion, to being strong, whether you are a man or not, it's an obligation, or being not okay whether you are man or woman is okay because we are human. So yeah, in my opinion, the patriarchy itself, it will makes the society give more expectation to men also, and it will become a burden also for men. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Miza. So you stated that patriarchy is not only or solely deserve women, but also the man, because we know the term of toxic masculinity, like the man can cry, the man can complain. Yeah, the men have to do it all. Like they have to be capable to manage everything. So, okay, Mr. Indrawanov, next slide, please. Yeah, so basically, the patriarchy attacks both women and men, and it emerges to work masculine in every situation. Then that put the women as subordinate, and men are required to be able to do everything. My other question is, what happened because of patriarchy? Is there anyone who wants to speak up? Perhaps Mr. Moonshine?
Yeah. Actually, I'm trying to answer the previous slide, but okay, I'll try this one. But before I answer this, I strongly agree with Miss Nisa, because when you see that, when you learn about the third wave of feminism, they came up with a term that really impressed me. It called the politics of difference. What is the politics of difference? Politics of difference is the way in our society to 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 recreate the new kind of relation between man and woman. And I want to try to look another perspective regarding to what Mr. Fatan said, that for example, like why there is no masculinism or men who speak up for their rights, because you can see that the first movement regarding to feminism is started on I forget, maybe the 1660, I forget the time before. And after that movement, the problem within the society, because of the gender inequality and something like that, is still not finished, because there's a lot of in this region that still suffer from that. And also, why there's no men speak up about their rights? Because we domination the society all the time, the centuries, right? So that's why we don't need to reclaim what our rights. So that's what I see. And because of the domination, oppression, and something, there is some kind of feminism view. We call it radical feminism, who trying to really undertake the man position in the society. For example, like in South Korea, there are thousands of women who declare they will not marry until their death. Why? Because every single woman in South Korea, when they decide to marry, they will have to give up everything their dream for the life, for the career, education, everything about their dream, because they have to back to the house, cleaning the house, make a food to her husband and something. So that's why a lot of perspective come difference in every single region. For example, like Iran and Indonesia, why a lot of feminists trying to attack a religion ideology, because they see that the religion is the most oppressing idea that oppress them, something like that. So like in Iran, they try to with the movement with move apa, don't wear a hijab there, something like that. So what happened because of patriarchy? I think I don't know what happened. For what happened actually, we cannot. It's so ideal. It's so ngawang ya. It's just in my mind. What happened? We cannot see other perspective during making a law, for example, like that. We cannot ask women to have a different perspective regarding to our nation law. For example, like for omnibus law, there's a few moments that already briefed by the party to just agree all about in omnibus law. So we don't have any different opinion to debate about the law. And after that, we can see that the troubles always come in undeveloped country. The trouble always come when people have married, because they cannot educate the future generation because of the oppression towards patriarchy. So I think what happened because of the patriarchy, I think, yeah, you can see what happened in the world right now is because of the patriarchy. And the war happened because of the patriarchy. We cannot handle the pandemic outbreak because of the patriarchy. We cannot make people happy because of the patriarchy. People, not just women, people. So I think that will happen. That will happen because of the patriarchy. I think that's it for me. Thank you.
Okay.
Hello, Arsha.
Thank you.
Hello, check. Arsha is still there.
Hello.
Okay, yes.
Hello.
Is it time for me, Miss Arsha? To speak. Hello.
Hello, Miss Arsha, are you there?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
You are audible, Miss Alsa.
Yeah, you're
Okay.
audible.
Because Nurdratab didn't give me the time to speak up yet, and probably there is a connection constraint. And that, yeah, I'd like to give a little comment about what happened because of patriarchy. I totally disagree with what has been said by Moonshine, finally. Yeah, because he would like to describe or depict that the existence of patriarchy only result in negative impacts that make this kind of outbreak become worse and seem worsening. I disagree with that because at the same time, I can say that the function, the existence of feminism itself, it doesn't give strong influence toward bettering our current situation. Okay, so the next thing is about what actually happened because of patriarchy. As what has been said by Moonshine before, that South Korea become a very good example, the ideal example of just how feminism break the natural obligations the women should carry to become a good mother, to become someone who can live their life fulfilling, caring toward the children. They miss this kinds of existence that they become the nature responsibility. Patriarchy allows that. Patriarchy allows women to become to follow their natural call, the call of the heart. And that's why I believe that there are so many carried women becomes older and older and they didn't get mature, but instead they get confusing themselves because finally they reject the idea of becoming a good mother because they totally believe that feminism is the sole truth that they need to join for the rest of their life. Okay, but yeah, still that's kind of a radical example. Okay, but yeah, because of patriarchy, it allows and gives a chance for women to become a good mother and not neglecting their first primary thing that they need to do for the rest of their life. Okay, I think that's for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sunshine. Wow, what a good, what's that? Fight of opinion, yeah, with Mr. Sunshine. Okay, so basically, Mr. Sunshine stated that women have to do all the domestic work and they have to sacrifice the career and other like they confused because of this. Okay, so the next one, the last one is Miss Andi Nurhikmah.
Okay, thank you for this opportunity. I will try to explain what happened because of patriarchy system. At least patriarchy system have at least 5 negative impacts for women. The first is subordination. Subordination that make women as a number 2, and the men is have a high position rather than women. And also not only subordination, and also marginalization, that women cannot participate in several aspects in their life, such as politics, education, economic, and so on. For example, marginalization happen in education, like only men can take several majors, such as engineering or machine engineering, something like that. Women cannot take that major because their sexual, because they are women, so they cannot take that major because only men can have a qualification to take their major, something like that. And the third is, as Mr. Sunshine said before, that is the dual rule that women have to do domestic work, and also they have to pursue their career and so on. Yeah, that's happened because of patriarchy system. And then the fourth is about stigmatized. Women always get stigmatized from society because, for example, like when they are back to their home at 11 p.m. or more than that time, they get stigmatized that they are not a good woman, or they have a job that is not a really good job. I don't know how to explain about it, but something like they have like they do prostitution, something like that. And last is sexual violence. Yes, women tend to be a victim of sexual violence because our perspective believe that women is object of sexual activity. This is a patriarchy system because only men can be a subject of sexual activity. So that's why they tend to normalize when women have a sexual violence, because there is a perspective in our society that that women cannot control their sexual arousal. So that's why it's normal if they want to, if they, how to say, melampiaskan, I don't know what is in English. It's normal when they want to do sexual violence or sexual harassment to the women. Yes. That's my answer. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Miss Andi Nurhikmah. So basically, you stated that it is because of the subordination that had happened because of the patriarchy, and makes like the women outnumber, and also the yeah, as what you stated before, what happened because of patriarchy, it has like lots of uh, lots of effects. For example, like the first one is inequality and injustice, like what you stated before. So it's like relating to the stigma and the opportunities or treatments that have been received by the women and also by the men too. Like, you know, the women have the what's that lower salaries and perhaps not good good as education, not good education as not own, and they have to pay lots of. And the last one is the misogyny and misandry. So it's like misogyny is the hatred towards the women, while misandry is the opposite, like it's the hatred towards the man, like that. So, Mr. Indrayanov, can you please have the slide? Okay, and next. So we will talk regarding the effects of the patriarchy. Next, please. Okay, so this effect is actually relating to what's that the toxic masculinity. Yeah, the what's that? It shows that the patriarchy is not only or solely deserve the women, but also the men. But guys, what can be inferred from this title and also this data? Is there anyone who wants to speak up? Perhaps one person, because I just look at the time and it's almost done. Is there one who want to speak up regarding the data? Okay, Mr. Fikri Nugraha.
Okay, thank you, Miss Arsa. So from this data, we can conclude that it's happened why the suicide rates by sex and X is happen in male than female. It's because about I think the toxic masculinity, Miss Arsa. As before, you know, the effect of toxic masculinity is happen because the men cannot express their feeling, because as a man we must have a strong, and we cannot cry, and then it's happened the men suffer the more mental health than the woman. So that's why it's happened for many men for suicide from the data. Actually, for the real case in Japan, we can know that in Japan the suicide rate of men is higher than the woman in that country. Actually, this is happened because the toxic masculinity, Miss Arsa. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fikri, for the opinion. So yeah, basically what Mr. Fikri said, like it is happened because of the toxic masculinity, as what the Mr. Fikri said. The example is from in Japan. And also, we have to notice that based on the data, lots of the men or most of the men are not willing to seek for the help of professionals. So while women can be open up more, it's like telling stories to their friends regarding their problems and other, while men tend to keep it by themselves. Like they are afraid to be labeled as some because they want to cry or they have complaint and other. So it makes the rate of the man like it's higher than the women. Okay, Mr. Can you next slide, please?
Can we still say some?
Okay, so basically we have the data here, like at least 1 in 6 men have been sexually abused or assaulted. Well, in our society, the sexual harassment towards men gets fewer attention. Like, have you ever heard if the sexual harassment happened and the other men try to blame the men who get the sexual abuse? Like, you have to be grateful because the women, they try to catcalling you or they try to do that to you because they're interesting. Because you're a man, you have to be grateful of the sexual harassment or abuse. Well, actually, the reality is not like that because the men also have feelings. Like, you know, lots of the men are, and I can assure that most of the men don't like if they are being sexually abused. Well, on the other hand, the other men try to convince them that that's not actually abuse, that's a gift, like that. So this type of reality actually happens in our society. And next one, please. Okay, so it's like the lower salary for women. You know that women has that lower salary than the man based on this data from ILO or from this data, well, the men only get conception in the society that the men have to work hard in order to support the family or something like that. Also because on the other hand, the women are seen as people who are not able to do more things or much things. Yeah, if compared to the man like that. And Mister, can you please next slide, please? Okay, so how do we tackle this issue? Like, what can we do? What's the most simple thing or the simplest thing that we can do? Is to spread the awareness. Like, yeah, you have to do the campaign or something like that in the social network. It's like the easiest thing to do. Like, you have to inform the other people regarding the feminism and feminists or what you think regarding that, and also the patriarchy, like the substandard that will come from the patriarchy itself, and yeah, something like that. And stop sexist jokes because it's, our society normalizes this kind of jokes by saying it's just a joke, so don't take it personally. Well, it's not only happens to the women, but also happens to the men. Like, people say you don't have to take it personally because you're a man, so it's just like a joke to you. Realize it is just a joke like that. So we have to stop this kind of sexist jokes, and remind your surroundings every time you see inequality. Yeah, like that. And the next slide, Mr. Please.
Agree with you more.
Yeah, you have to do it because actions speak louder than words. So thank you, guys. Okay, before I close, I would like to convey that, I can see from this discussion, actually, it's my first time, and it's quite fun for me because I can see, and then I can gather like men and the girls, men and the women, and I can hear your opinion, like what your opinion regarding this topic, because yeah, I'm still wondering like what's the opinion of the man, because I'm a girl and I support this movement and other, but yeah, I'm feeling grateful because I know lots of things from you guys. So thank you. And also, that the feminism is the movement, like, what you said before, the movement to make the people equal in same opportunities, same treatment and others. And also, like, lots of things happen regarding the feminism and also patriarchy, not only deserve the women, because these whole things, like, yeah, perhaps some women too think that, yeah, they are being deserved by the patriarchy, while on the other hand, patriarchy is not only attacking the women but also the man, and it's like the toxic culture that we have to change. So that's the conclusion, and thank you guys for the great time. Okay, so back to Mr. Indewan.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Arsha, with these nice, amazing discussions. So, guys, there are the several vocabularies that I write in these discussions. Oke, jadi ada tadi vocab yang teman-teman masih ganjel ya. Ada sengketa, quarrel, atau legal actions. Terus ada gejolak, bisa menggunakan flaming, penyalahgunaan abuse, ya, kambing hitam, scapegoat, muncul. Nah, tadi Angga ya pakai kata emerge. Biasanya kalau yang lain biasanya appear ya. Extravagant, boros, ya, oppress. Terus ada bribe, menyuap, bribery, ya, suap menyuap, deceive, representative, legislative assembly, Parliament Congress, Regents. Kelihatan kan ya di apa ya? Di apa ya? Di layarnya? Kelihatan ya. Nah, nanti ini semua bakal saya kirim ke grup teman-teman ya. Jadi beberapa vocabularies yang teman-teman tadi masih apa ya, masih nggak tahu ya, coba dihafal lagi supaya lebih enak diskusinya. Oke, itu aja buat hari ini untuk teman-teman semua. Sebelum kita tutup ya, so let's take a picture together. Oke, coba kameranya dihidupin ya. Oke. Wah, hari ini ya.
Mister, I cannot because I'm on the way.
Okay, yeah, this okay.
I'm so sorry. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, yuk. Slide 1. Yuk. Kamera hidupin ya, teman-teman ya. Oke. Slide 1, gaya pertama, gaya 1. Slide 2. Ya, 3 periode ya, 3 periode. Slide 2. Oh, gini ya, slide 2. Oke, slide 2. Oke, slide 4. Oke, dan terakhir 5 yang 3 ya. Okay, well, thank you so much guys for coming. Thank you Arsha, and see you next time or next week. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Hell Ota.
Yesterday, you say tomorrow.
Okay, so this is our change. Hell Ota. Yesterday, you said tomorrow. Okay, see you next week. Everyone, thank you Arsha. Thank you everyone.
Sunshine's Dynasty.
Halo Mr. Kibo.